Stick around to the end of the video because not only do we have another edition of Beyblade News Roundup, yeehaw! We've also got some interesting tournament data to cover in terms of anti-meta, so let's get into it. The UK Beyblade Network. Greetings Bladers, welcome to the UK BBXN, and in today's video we're going to be covering the latest round of news, plus we've also got our first looks at Sol Eclipse, as well as a sneak preview at Clock Mirage 965 Ball. Plus, we're also going over some very interesting anti-meta tournament data that's been popping up as of late. So, without further ado, let's get into the news. But first, one quick ado. If you want to get yourself some excellent savings on the latest and greatest Beyblade products, head on over to gestorino.com, which is our channel's official website, and you can use code UKBBXN to save yourself 10% on already fantastic prices on Beyblade products. And speaking of Beyblade products, let's get into the news. You know, like, for real this time though. Starting off with the latest Hasbro release, which is going to be the Extreme Expansion set. This is a way of getting hold of Nightmail, as well as Ghost Circle and the blue-coated Hell's Hammer, as well as a bunch of other bits that you're probably going to want to pick up, as well as some ratchets of varying use. And considering how popular the Shark Scale box is, I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro do something like this for that blade further down the line. And sticking with Hasbro news, we've also seen the release of the Double Extreme Stadium now in stores. I personally have seen this in Smith's Toys, so definitely if you're interested in that stadium, head on over, grab yourself one. It's actually way cheaper than I thought it was going to be. It was 50 quid. Not bad, considering you're getting basically a Takara Tomy size stadium, plus it's motorized. Whee! And finally, we've also got the remainder of the 2025 releases from Takara Tomy that has been confirmed as to what they're going to be. We don't know too much about them yet. However, what we do know is in November we have the CX10 booster and the CX11 deck set. That's the first deck set we've actually got that's been fully CX, although like I said, it remains to be seen what these actually will contain. No doubt as soon as I release this video, more information will drop. That is the nature of the game and my luck. But I'll be sure to cover that information as soon as it releases, so make sure to subscribe to UK BBXN for the latest updates in Beyblade X. But we've also got December's releases that has been confirmed as being UX17. That is going to be a starter, which I've also heard rumor is going to be a left spin, so that'll be very interesting to see if that is actually the case. And we've also got the Volume 7 random booster for UX18, which is going to be basically a set of 6 different blades that you can get, and you don't know which one you're going to get. But if you're like me and you don't really like gambling, Gestorino has you covered as well, because you can order the complete set, so you know you're definitely getting that prize bay. And one final little bit of news, it's not really been confirmed if this is going to be an actual release, although you would think based on how they tend to do the Beyblade X anime that it will be. We got a little teaser for Season 3, and if you look at this promo, you can actually see that Multi has a different blade on top of her Wizard CX, and we can also see a separate, I don't know if that's a different ratchet or an assist blade on Jackson's Dran Brave, and you'd expect that Robin's also probably got a new piece as well. But I guess that is kind of to be expected that there would be some upgrades. They always do that so they can push more products. It will be very interesting to see what these end up being, and if we get them at all. Hopefully we will. It's always nice to have a little bit of an upgrade, and I'm glad they're not pushing yet another new blade for the main characters as well. The whole point of CX was we were supposed to be able to customize them, so you never know, it might even be this completely new type of thing they'll bring out. It remains to be seen. But I'd love to know if you've got any thoughts on this, drop them down in the comments. But for now, we're going to move straight on into our next topic, and that is Sol Eclipse has released, and boy, this blade is heavy. And coming in at just under 40 grams, it only weighs slightly less than Pegasus Blast. However, I wouldn't discount this yet. I've had a little bit of time to play around with it, and boy, it really has a tremendous amount of stamina for a CX blade. And from what I've seen so far, I really wouldn't be surprised if this becomes another part of the meta, probably used as an anti-attack blade, maybe on a balanced setup or some kind of defense stamina combo. All of those, I could easily see this blade blade becoming just another thing that people have to contend with. However, it's probably also going to pop up a lot of times on low rush, you know, all the usual suspects. Probably going to see it on free ball or low orb. It's a very versatile blade with a lot of smash attack power, as you can see from the videos I put up on the screen there. And these are the combos that I've been using on screen. Both of these are ones I'd highly recommend. You're putting it on turn, facing down, and 960, either dot or kick. Both of those, you know, depending on what your playstyle is, I've had very good results from them. And we've got another look at Clock Mirage 965 ball. We did see a video of this earlier. That time it was going up against Wizard Rod on 450 ball. This time it went up against Wizard Rod on 360 ball, as well as Cobalt Dragoon on 960 elevate. Both times completely dominating them in terms of stamina. So this looks like it's going to be one to watch for sure. And I know a lot of people are worried about the unique lock mechanism for the ratchets. It does look kind of exposed when you see it from a side view. However, we just gotta wait and see. There's a lot of times that people in the Beyblade community just catastrophize and assume that everything else is gonna be terrible. And it might end up being terrible, but you just don't know. I keep going back to it, but I remember when Hover Wyvern came out, people wrote it off, and now it's one of the most popular blades. I've been looking over the data for tournaments. Hover Wyvern pops up all the time, so yeah. Just keep your mind open. Maybe it'll suck, maybe it'll be amazing, maybe it'll be mid. The important thing to remember is that the meta is definitely not everything, and that nicely brings us over to our last point. I'm talking about stuff that has been breaking the meta. And in fact, I'm going to give you 5 non-conventional combos that have been in tournament winning decks in the last couple of weeks. Starting with Tide Whale on 780 Cyclone. This thing is wild. And Tide Whale is definitely a blade that doesn't mind being a little bit taller. Plus, it's nice to be vindicated when people say,
why would you use Cyclone over Vortex? It's not a left spin.
It doesn't need to be less spin. That's the beauty of Cyclone. It packs such a punch because it goes the opposite direction. And then someone brought back a classic. It was Shark Edge on 455 level. Shark Edge definitely has fallen out of favor in the meta. However, this person has definitely proved that it still has its place. And sticking with level builds, we've got Samurai Caliber on 170 level. This isn't actually too surprising because both Samurai Caliber and 170 have been popping up loads recently. And another blade that isn't too surprising, although the bit definitely is, it's Golem Rock on 560 Bound Spike, which I think, like a lot of people, I wrote off Bound Spike as not being particularly good. However, it's definitely got its place, and someone even came second with Samurai Caliber on 460 Bound Spike, which, like, that just sounds all kinds of wrong, but results don't lie. And then finally, a build that I really was not expecting. I mean, all of these were kind of unexpected, but Wriggle Kraken on Slash 370 Taper. And with Wriggle Kraken being an echo of Wizard Arc, but a Hasbro exclusive, I think most people kind of discounted this blade, but again, results do not lie. Someone managed to come top with this build, so don't discount it, give it a try. But I'd like to know, what's your favorite anti-meta combo, and which release are you most excited for? Do you have any theories about the unknown releases that we've got coming up? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you next time.